Good morning, class. Actually, I was waiting for the other people, but I think we'll have to start now. Okay. So, yesterday I mentioned about the ACBT technique. So, ACBT is the active cycle of breathing technique. Okay, these things don't get scared that this is a new thing or something, but then these are the same techniques but then arranged in a different way. Okay, so what is ACBT? ACBT, it is an active breathing technique, okay, which is performed by patient, and then why it is done? To clear the secretions of your lung and to maintain your lung function. Okay, for these two purposes, to maintain the lung function and to clear the secretions, the ACBT technique is done. So it can be used along with your like postural drainages, the positions that we adapted in postural drainage, so those positions can be adapted here as well. And here there are like three basic phases, okay, that we use in case of your ACBT. Number one is your breathing control, after that is your deep breathing technique or the deep breathing exercises, and third is your huffing. Okay, what is huffing? The forced expiratory technique. So yesterday I have sent you a video, so you take in air, after that you let the air out through your mouth. So how you let it out? Like as if you are blowing or fogging into a mirror. Okay, in that way you huff. Okay, you huff out the air. So that is your huffing or the forced expiratory technique. And then deep breathing technique, I already taught this to you about the deep breathing techniques. Okay, and number one is your breathing control. So while you are doing the breathing control, we will start with the first one, which is the breathing control. Okay, but let me show you a picture before. These are the steps. Okay, these are the steps of the active cycle of breathing technique. First is your breathing control, which is the relaxed breathing. Then after that comes your deep breathing or thoracic expansion exercises. After that, the forced expiratory techniques, that is the huffing, and if additional secretions are also present along with it, you can go for coughing. Okay, coughing can be added afterwards, but before that these three are done. Okay, and in most of the cases the first three steps, this helps in clearing the secretion. And if somebody asks you what are the three main phases, then it is the breathing control, deep breathing exercises, and the forced expiratory technique. Okay, coughing is an additional technique that we use it here. And along with coughing, okay, if not coughing, you can also use the manual techniques such as percussion or vibration. Okay, those manual techniques, percussion, vibration, shaking, this can also be used along with the former three, so to help in the clearance of secretions. Now let's go for breathing control. Okay, the first one. So while doing this breathing control, you need to relax yourself. Okay, you need to relax yourself if you are performing it by yourself, or if the patient is doing it, you need to make the patient relax. So how will you do that? You will ask the patient to close his eyes and to relax his neck muscle, shoulder muscle, and sit in a proper position. Okay, let go of all the panic and the anxiety in the patient. And then usually the in this breathing control technique, that is the first one, the patient is asked to take 6 breaths. Okay, now what will be your instruction to the patient, or how this technique can be performed? So first one, you will ask to breathe in and out gently through your nose. Okay, so that is a normal breath. Okay, not a deeper one, not a shallow one, but the normal breath that we take. So they have to breathe in and out through the nose, and if not possible, they can breathe out through their mouth as well. But remember, if they are breathing out through the mouth, then it's better to do with the help of pursed lip breathing. Okay, so you all remember the pursed lip breathing. I hope you all remember that pursed lip breathing, how we do that, as if we are blowing a candle or a whistle. So in that way we do pursed lip breathing. Okay, so if you breathe out, it is better to do it in that way. Then after that, you try let go of all the tension in your body and keep your neck and shoulder muscles relaxed. So this you can usually instruct even before starting the exercise. You can ask the patient that relax yourself, let go of all the panic and anxiety, and please relax your shoulder and your neck muscles. Now, why relax the shoulder and the neck muscle? I'm telling you the reason. The reason is that the accessory muscles of breathing, if you remember the accessory muscles of breathing, that is the maybe the sternocleidomastoid, okay, so these muscles, so which also help in respiration. So when they help in respiration, when the main muscles of respiration, that is the diaphragm and intercostals, are not working well, okay, when diaphragm and intercostals are not efficient enough to do a breathing technique, then your accessory muscle, they come into action, right? So if you allow the patient to relax his neck and shoulder muscle, that means he is relaxing the accessory muscles. So that we ask to do this so that he does not use the accessory muscle. Okay, the only muscles that are used will be the primary muscles of respiration. Okay, because the accessory muscles are usually present near your neck and shoulder. So when these muscles will be relaxed, so the only muscles to come into action will be the primary muscles, that is the intercostals and the diaphragm. After that, you will ask the patient to make his breath slower, okay, and then try closing the eye, okay. We'll instruct it to the patient that try closing your eye and focus on your breathing and then relax. That is only breathing control, okay. So this is nothing tough, but the thing is only breathing in and out, and the patient needs to relax himself. He needs to let go of all the anxiety and the panic, and he need to focus on his breathing, okay, how he is breathing in and how he is breathing out. So that is the breathing control, and it should be done till the time until the patient is ready to progress to the other stages. Because this is helpful, because if you suddenly start the deep breathing exercises, so sometimes the patient might already feel tensed, okay, the patient might already be in a panic state, and if you ask him to do the complex ones, that is the diaphragmatic breathing or the pursed lip breathing, then the patient will be more panicked, okay, or he will be tensed. So better you start with the breathing control, that is breathe in and out, and then focus on your breathing. When you are breathing in and out, just focus on that thing, okay. Let go of all the unnecessary thoughts in your mind, just focus on your breathing and relax your neck and shoulder. So this comes under your breathing control. Clear? Breathing control, the first technique. Yes, okay. So I hope it is clear to all, okay. It's just breathing in and out, and just that you need to focus on your breathing, okay, normal one. If the person is not able to breathe out through his like nose, then it's better to breathe out through his mouth. Exercises. So what are deep breathing exercises or thoracic expansion exercises? This focus on inspiration, and then they help to loosen the secretions that you have on your lungs. Okay, so these comes under your deep breathing. The first was breathing control, was your normal breathing. So deep breathing or thoracic expansion exercises. So what you do here is you instruct the patient to keep the chest and shoulder relaxed. Now why chest and shoulder relaxed? So that the accessory muscle do not come into action. That is why, okay. And then after that, take a long, slow and deep breath through the nose if possible. And at the end of the breath, you have to hold the breath. Okay, here the whole time is there. You have to take in a deep breath and then hold the breath for about like 2 to 3 seconds before breathing out. So this time where you were holding your breath, it is known as your inspiratory hold. Okay, why inspiratory hold? Because just after inspiration, the air that you have taken in, you are trying to hold that air in your lungs. Okay, not for much time, but for at least 2 to 3 seconds. So you are holding that air that you inspired, so it is known as the inspiratory hold. And after that, you will breathe out gently. Okay, breathe out gently, do not force the air out. Gently, maybe the way you are doing in the pursed lip breathing. So make your mouth like that, and then you can gently force the air out, and then you can repeat it 3 to 5 times. Okay, so this is a deep breathing technique or you can also go for the thoracic expansion exercises. Okay, that is the pursed lip breathing, the diaphragmatic breathing. You can also add those here, but if not, if the patient is not able to do, then it's better that you keep on limited, so you keep it limited only to the deep breathing. That is, take a deep breath in, hold it for like 2 to 3 seconds, and then let a deep breath out. Okay, just like a sigh. Okay, just the way you sigh. Okay, it is not like you will force the air out, but you will do it in a gentle way, and then you will repeat it 3 to 5 times. Okay, and the thing is, if the patient, okay, he feels uncomfortable doing this exercise, sometimes while taking the deep breath the patient feels like more stressed sometimes because he is not able to do it properly, or sometimes he might also feel lightheadedness. So in these cases, you ask the patient to return back to the breathing control technique. Okay, and then go for the deep breathing or the thoracic expansion exercises again. If the patient is okay with continuing the deep breathing exercises and he is still feeling well, then you can continue to the next phase. If not, if he feels uncomfortable or lightheadedness, then it's better to return back to breathing control and then again keep on doing the deep breathing exercise. Okay, so this is a cycle, so you can keep on repeating it. First was your breathing control, where a normal breath in, normal breath out. Okay, there was no holding, just that the patient needs to focus on his breathing and keep his neck and shoulder muscles relaxed. In the second one, a deep breath in, deep breath out through your mouth, and here you need to hold the breath for about like 2 to 3 seconds. And if doing this procedure the patient feels lightheadedness, then it's better to go back to the breathing control. Okay, clear deep breathing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The third is your huffing or forced expiratory technique. Okay. So what is huffing or forced expiratory technique? Yesterday I gave you a video of huffing. So I hope you all have seen that. So it is done, and I have also demonstrated it. So how you do it is like as if you are blowing into a mirror, or sometimes you try to fog the mirror, no? In that way how you breathe out. So you have to do it in that way. I have also shown you up this way. Okay, the person how he is trying to let the air out through his mouth, this way you do the huffing. See, if you make your mouth small, or if you make your lips in a pursed way, okay, so in that way, that is the pursed lip breathing. That is when your lips are closer to each other, your upper lip and the lower lip, and then you try to breathe out through your mouth, that is the pursed lip. Okay, and when your mouth is wide open and your lips are apart, and then when you do this, this is huffing. Okay, this is just for your explanation. Don't think that this is the definition or something. Just I'm saying it, that if your mouth is like closed almost, but only a small space is there between the lips, and then you try to move the air out, that is your pursed lip breathing. And when you open your mouth wide, then this is huffing. Okay, so next is your huffing or forced expiratory technique. So this is also used to move secretions. Okay, and then that is the first before that what we did was the deep breathing technique. So deep breathing technique, it helped to like mobilize the secretions or to loosen up the secretions in your lungs or maybe in your airways. So this huffing, how will it help? It will help to move those secretions towards your mouth. Okay, the deep breathing exercises help to mobilize the secretion, and then huffing helps to move this secretion to your throat. Okay, or through your towards your mouth. Okay, and this huffing is done with an open mouth and throat. Okay, instead of coughing. So this is more helpful because coughing sometimes makes you tired. Okay, the person who are sick or ill, they get tired of coughing. So huffing is a better way. When you think of like doing it for a longer period of time, then huffing is a better way, because the tiredness level is less here in huffing. And huffing helps in moving these secretions or the sputum from the smaller airway to the large one. Okay, and after that, when they move into the large one, so sometimes you can like remove it out gently, or sometimes you might also require cuffing again. But then the huffing, with the help of huffing, the sputum, it moves from the smaller airway to the larger airway. Okay, so there are two types of huff. Huffing also can be done in two way. Okay, one is the medium volume huff, another one is the high volume huff. So the medium volume huff, it helps to move the secretion from the lower portion of your airway. Okay, and the high volume huff, it helps to move secretion from your upper airways. Okay, the name itself says that the higher one, the high volume huff, it helps in moving secretion from the upper portion of the airway, that is high, and the medium volume huff, it helps to move secretion lower than that. Okay, lower in your airways. So how will you do a medium volume huff is, you will take a normal breath in, okay, and then a long breath out. Okay, normal breath in and a long breath out. So these two are not similar. Okay, till here, if you were taking a normal breath in, you were also letting out a normal breath out. Okay, if you were taking a deep breath, you were also breathing out deeply. But in case of your medium volume huff, you take a normal size breath. Okay, that is a normal size breath in, but a long breath out. So that is the opposite. Okay, normal size breath in and long breath out. Till when? Till your lungs feel empty. Okay, so the way you are trying to steam up a mirror, or you are trying to fogging up a mirror, so you do it in that way, that is a long breath out. Okay, so that is the medium volume huff. Then high volume huff, how will you do it? Here it is the opposite. Here you take a deep breath in and then you huff out quickly. Okay, you do it in the same way as if you were trying to steam up a mirror, but then you do it very quickly, not in a slow or deeper way. Okay, clear. Medium volume huff, it helps to move secretion from your lower airways, and the high volume huff, it helps to clear secretions or move secretions from your upper airways. So how you do a medium volume huff? You take a normal breath in through your nose and then a long breath out through your mouth. Okay, and as if you were trying to fog up a mirror or steam up a mirror. And high volume huff, how you do it? A deep breath in and a normal breath out. Okay, a normal breath out or huff out quickly, and you only perform like 1 to 2 huffs together, because repeatedly if you keep on doing this will also make your chest tight. Okay, so this is how you go for huffing or forced expiratory technique. Clear? Clear, is it clear? So I told you then that ACBT is a cycle, okay, active cycle of breathing technique. So mainly here you use only three things, that is the breathing control, then is the deep breathing, after that is the huffing. But since it is a cycle, it needs to keep on repeating it. Okay, so one after the other you keep on repeating it. So how you do it? At first start with the breathing control. As you can see, the red color one, you do it for 20 to 30 seconds. After that, you take 3 to 4 deep breaths. Okay, and after taking 3 to 4 deep breaths, there are probabilities that the person might feel lightheadedness, or a person might find some kind of discomfort. So then the person will again return back to the breathing control. Again do the breathing control for 20 to 30 seconds. Okay, if not, if the patient is not feeling lightheadedness, then you can continue doing the deep breathing exercises. So again, when you do the breathing control, again you have to keep on repeating the 3 to 4 deep breaths. Okay, after that, again breathing control again for 20 to 30 seconds. After that, huffing. Okay, huffing is done to clear the secretions, and if the secretions are not cleared by huffing, then you go for coughing. Okay, which can be followed by coughing if needed. So you all know how coughing is done, so it can be incorporated if huffing has not cleared your sputum enough. Okay, so if huffing itself has cleared all the secretions, then coughing is not necessary. Okay, but it is also important that you avoid coughing for a long period of time, because that is tiring, and then also it might make you feel breathless. So you all know that if you cough for a longer period of time, so what happens is that we are unable to breathe, or we feel shortness of breath. Okay, and we also get tired when we cough for a longer period of time, because too much of force and energy is used there. So coughing, even if it is incorporated, it should be done for a small period of time. And then if after coughing like 1 or 2 times the person again feels breathless or lightheadedness, then again you can return back to the breathing control. So since this is a cycle, you can keep on repeating it until you feel that your secretions are cleared. And also you need to make sure that the patient is not tired after doing all these things. Okay, clear about this cycle?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And there are certain indications where you do this ACBT technique. That is, mostly you use it in case of the lung diseases, maybe bronchitis, cystic fibrosis, bronchiectasis. Okay. And then in case of to move out the secretions from your lungs. That is the when there is like sputum collection in your lung or in your airway, so in that cases you use it. And also like when your lungs are not expanding well, so in poor expansion of the lung also you can use this technique. And in case of rib fractures you can use it, but only after like post surgical, or only after the fracture has been managed, only after that you will go for this technique. Because if the fracture is not managed, then what will happen is you're taking deep breaths, then you are putting more pressure on it, and you will cough, then there will be more pressure on your ribs or on your chest. So it's better to do this exercise only after it has been managed, or the fracture has been managed. So, and in case of atelectasis means collapse of the lung. Also to strengthen your respiratory muscle, this can also be used. Okay, that is the, see, if we want to strengthen a particular muscle, what do? We try doing the action of that particular muscle. For example, if I want to strengthen my biceps, so what will I do? I'll try to flex my elbow. Okay, and or maybe I'll put some weight over my hand, I'll hold some weight, and then I'll try flexing my elbow. So why flex? I'll flex my elbow because that is the function of the biceps. So if you keep on repeating the function of a particular muscle, that muscle gets strengthened. So similarly, these are the function of the respiratory muscle, that is breathing. So if you keep on doing these exercises, this will also help in strengthening your muscles, and to also increase your breathing rate. Okay, and in case of like sometimes the secretions are also palpable, so in those cases also you do it. And then these are the indications, but you also need to know about the contraindications. Okay, so what are the contraindications? So suppose a patient is unconscious. Okay, so that unconscious patient will be in mechanical ventilation, so now you cannot go and ask the patient to do ACBT. Okay, so you better avoid ACBT in those cases, in patients who are unconscious or patient who are not breathing by themselves. Okay, maybe a patient is conscious but then he is on mechanical ventilator, or maybe he is on oxygen therapy. Okay, so he is not breathing by himself, so in those cases it's better to avoid ACBT. And then there are some patients who are not able to follow your instructions, maybe the mentally sick patients or maybe the children, so they will not get what you are trying to explain. Okay, so they will do it maybe in a wrong way, so it's better to avoid it in such patients rather than doing it in a wrong way. And then in case of like agitated or confused patients, okay, patient who are already agitated and confused, so it's better to avoid this in such kind of patients. Clear? Is it clear? Okay, after that you need to know about certain precautions that you need to take. Okay, because the patient might feel dizzy, as I told you, that is lightheadedness, or the shortness of breath might also increase. So if that happens, so there you might need to take control of the pain as well. okay, and also of bronchospasm. That is, after maybe the patient, as I told you, that after managing the rib fracture also you can go for this ACBT technique. So even after management or even after surgery, the patient might have some pain over his chest, so it's better to control that. Okay, along with this technique you also need to keep in mind the other conditions such as bronchospasm, and also like the patient had unstable head, neck or spinal surgery. So in those cases also the pain management is required. So along with the ACBT technique, it's better that you take care of the pain as well. Okay, maybe you will help it in different positioning. Okay, and if the patient feel lightheadedness, so you can start changing the position. Usually this is done in like sitting position only, or if not in sitting position, the postural drainage position. So yesterday I have given you a list of how this postural drainage, like how we go into different positions for postural drainage where gravity can assist the secretion clearance. So you can do it in that way also, depending upon on which lobe the secretion is present, or simply you can do it in sitting position as well. Okay, that is in sitting position or in gravity assisted position. But what you need to keep in mind is relax the shoulder and the neck muscle. Okay, and make the patient comfortable, relaxed and well supported. And again, some other manual techniques such as vibration, percussion, shaking, this can also be incorporated. Okay, and if not, like already the secretions are cleared by huffing and coughing, so it is not required to do percussion or vibration. And next comes about your duration and frequency. So how long you can do it? It should be done for about like 10 minutes, okay, or till the time you feel that your chest is clear. Okay, and you can do it like once or twice daily when you are well. And if you have more sputum, more amount of sputum, then you can do it more often. Okay, like you can repeat it every 2 hours also. If there is excess amount of secretions, then you can repeat it every 2 hours. But like if the patient is unwell and again he is having more amount of sputum, so you need to do it like for a shorter period of time, and also reduce the frequency of the session. Like if the person is well, so you can do it for like once or twice daily, and if there are more sputum, he can do it more often, like repeat it every 2 hours. But if the patient is unwell, maybe the patient is feeling dizzy or lightheadedness from before, so or maybe there is more pain, so in that way you can reduce the time, and also how frequently you repeat that, you can reduce that. Okay, so usually you do it for like 10 minutes, the whole cycle. Okay, you keep on repeating in for about 10 minutes. So these are the three techniques that you use in ACBT. First was breathing control, where a normal breath in, normal breath out. Okay, if not possible to breathe out through the nose, then better breathe out through your mouth. And then keep your attention on the breathing. Okay, focus on the breathing and keep the shoulder and the neck muscle relaxed. Next is deep breath in, deep breath out. But make sure that it is a gentle one, not a forced one. And then here also you need to hold your breath for about 2 to 3 seconds. Then is your huffing. So how is huffing done? Two ways: medium volume and the large volume, okay, or the high volume. So medium volume is used to remove secretion from the lower part of your airway, high volume from the upper part of your airway. In medium volume huff, you take a normal size breath in and an active long breath out. In high volume, you take a deep breath in and then you huff out quickly. And if the secretions are not cleared by huffing, then you can go for the other technique, which is coughing. And then you keep on repeating the cycle for about like 10 minutes. Clear? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I have already given you the notes yesterday. You can go through them. It will be easier for you. But these are again a bit high level things. So The external might not ask you in such deeper questions as such, but it's better to know. Okay, it's always better to know, because you do not know what they will ask or what they will not ask. So it's better to know, because if you say like in pulmonary rehab, if you say that you are focusing on clearance of secretions, so if you only say like percussion, vibration, shaking, so this will help in secretion clearance, then the external might again ask you the next question as such that okay, so like, is there any other technique to clear secretion? So then if you say these things as such, so that huffing we can use or coughing we can use, so that is a better thing to do, right? Rather than only saying percussion, vibration and shaking, if you can add up these things as well, that is huffing, coughing, or if you can say this technique properly, that is the ACBT technique, so that will be a better thing. Okay, so they may not ask directly what is ACBT, or they may not ask you directly like what is huffing or what is coughing, but if you can include these things in your answer, so that will have a good impression. Okay, so if you are saying about pulmonary, they might simply ask you, tell us something about the pulmonary rehab. So when you are saying about pulmonary rehab, along with the breathing exercises, along with the manual techniques such as percussion, vibration, shaking, then again if you can use the things such as postural drainage, autogenic drainage, and then ACBT, if you can add this up, then it will be a better answer, okay, than the former one. So that is the thing. So they might not ask you directly, but if you can include this in your answer, so that will be a better one. Clear? Any doubts? Any doubts? Anyone? Okay, so you have your practical exams day after tomorrow, right? So kindly go through the videos, okay, especially the breathing exercises, because these are, you can do it by yourself. Okay, these are self demonstrating ones, so you might be asked to demonstrate those, so you better go for all the videos. Okay, read everything. Okay, do not skip anything, because if you say this high level things such as autogenic drainage, postural drainage, ACBT, but then again you do not know how many chambers are there in the heart or how many lobes are there in the lung, so that will leave a bad impression again. So it's better that you start from the basic and start reading everything. Okay, there is nothing to mug up, because cardio is all about your body. You need to know about your own body, because once you read it up, it will be easier for you. Okay, there is nothing to mug up, just say everything properly. And if you are saying something, make sure that you have read about the topic. Okay, simply do not keep on beating around the bush, because the examiners do not like that. So if you say autogenic drainage, so make sure you know what is autogenic drainage and then you say about it. Okay, and if you like, do not remain silent. Okay, that is my advice for all of you. Do not remain silent. If the examiner asks you something, try saying something. Okay, do not stay numb there. Okay, do not stay numb, and just simply say something. Okay, you will know, because I have covered all the portion, I have given all the notes, so if you go through them at least once, then you will be able to answer. Okay, so tomorrow you have exams, so will not be able to take a class tomorrow and day after that. So all the best for your exams, everyone. Do well, and I want all of you to pass. Okay, so that's why I'm saying do not remain silent. At least if you say something, even if it's half correct, at least you, the examiner will know that okay, this person at least knows something. Okay, if you keep quiet, then of course there will be no chances. Okay, so better you all answer something, read everything nicely, and all the best. Okay, and if you have got any doubt, you can ask me.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, welcome. if you go through the notes tomorrow, because tomorrow you have PT1, so today I don't think so you will go through cardio or CBR. So if you go through them tomorrow, so you can ask me if you have got any doubts, okay? Because before exam, I know that you will read properly only the day before exam. Okay, so if you go through those, if you have any doubts even tomorrow, you can ask me, you can call me up, or if I do not receive also, you can just leave a message. Okay, I'll make sure I reply. Okay, I'll clear your doubts. Okay, so all the best. We'll wind up the class now. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.